Good morning, my little nerds. I am Dr. Shereene Idriss, a cosmetic dermatologist based in New York City, and welcome to our YouTube channel where every Saturday morning we do an episode of Pillow Talk Derm where we go a little bit deeper than what I usually do either on Instagram stories or TikTok, because I am now on TikTok. So if you don't follow me there, make sure to follow me there and definitely subscribe to this channel, and feel free to like the video and comment below, because every week I do review your comments and it's what actually inspires me to do the next subject. So my little nerds, this week we are going to tackle dry lips. And you may be asking yourself, what the heck does she have on her lips? Well, my friends, I am currently getting basted. And we're going to talk about that in more details in a second. But before we jump in, let's take a step back to understand what actually causes dry, chapped lips, because this is an issue that I personally have been dealing with my whole life. So, the anatomy of normal skin is pretty simple, where you have the epidermis, which the uppermost layer of the epidermis is the stratum corneum. And the stratum corneum is that top layer of the skin that actually locks in the moisture and holds on to the moisture. And within the normal skin, you have hair follicles, you have oil glands, you have sweat glands, and that's usually deeper down within the dermal layer. Now, a mucous membrane, which is basically your lips, your eyes, other parts of your body where the sun doesn't necessarily shine, is structured a little bit differently because it doesn't actually have a stratum corneum that is going to hold on and lock in moisture. Plus, there usually are no hair follicles on mucous membranes, and there are less sebaceous glands. On your mucous membranes, you have basically what are known as Fordyce spots, and these are actually oil glands. And they look like tiny little dots along your vermilion border. And a lot of people often come into the office asking and requesting to remove them. But do not wish away those Fordyce spots, because they're actually producing some oil for your lips. However, they're not great at locking that oil in. For example, when people go on Accutane or isotretinoin, which is an acne medication, Accutane actually shrinks the Fordyce spots and eventually leads to worsening of dryness of your lips. So that's why people on Accutane get very dry lips. Which brings me back to, what are two of the main reasons that people suffer from dry lips? Number one, it is the climate, your environment. If you live in a very, very cold climate, the heaters are probably blasting, and heaters in a cold climate are actually going to dry out the air that you are living in, and that can have really bad consequences on your lips and dry you out. Every single winter, without fail, my lips become complete flake yards, okay? They're flaking left, right, and center, and I can't help myself. Number two, a dry climate. Because like the heaters in winter, a dry climate is obviously dry. When I was in Utah in the spring, I could not control the dryness or the flaking of my lips. It was a disaster, a real disaster. And the more I tried to apply a moisture barrier, the more I tried to lick my lips, the worse it got. Which leads me to the second main reason why people get dry, chapped lips. Lip, I can never say that. Lip licking dermatitis. People lick their lips constantly to try to compensate for all of the dryness so that it doesn't look so chapped and cracked and everything. So they're trying to lick it so it looks a little bit more hydrated, but the lick really just lasts like 2 seconds on your lips. So you keep licking and you keep licking and you keep licking, and eventually your lips dry out in the process because saliva is extremely drying. And so lip licking dermatitis is an actual thing where people actually get an irritant dermatitis all around the border of their mouth. And that is actually worse in a cold climate because they get a windburn. This happens to me every single year, at least twice a year. If ever you notice my lips are a little bit redder in certain videos, that is probably what's happening. That is basically the two biggest reasons as to why people have dry lips. So you may ask yourself, but I actually use lip products. Can lip products actually dry out my lips? And that is a very good question, because the answer is ding, 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 ding. Yes. Lip products are typically waxier in formulation, Waxier, so they hold on to a pigment and a color, but waxes are not necessarily going to give back hydration, and it's not going to lock in hydration if your lips are dry to begin with, because what hydration is it locking in? So oftentimes people who use a lipstick and they apply it straight to dry lips, oftentimes their lips look more cracked, more chapped, and the pigment just seeps into those crevices, further accentuating them. And so that is why certain lip products can make your lips appear more cracked in the process and dried out. And a quick little tip, before applying any sort of lip stain or matte lipstick, definitely hydrate your lips before with a nice rich emollient and then apply the lip stain or lipstick. So this leads me to, what is the solution? I have become a lip connoisseur of sorts, because this has been an issue for nearly 4 decades. Yes. And so I have become a connoisseur of sorts when it comes to the lips. And I have come up with a technique that I have very endearly titled lip basting. How did this story come about? I was actually in Jackson, Wyoming, where the air is dry AF in the dead of winter. And my husband was showering and I was looking at myself trying to get ready for dinner, and my lips were literally constantly falling off no matter what I did. And I had a sugar scrub with me, and I was about to scrub my lips for the maybe 100th time that day when I realized, what am I doing? Why am I using a scrub that is really doing no benefit to my skin or offering zero benefit to my skin? Because a physical scrub at the end of the day is going to mechanically break apart the top layer of your skin, but it's not going to do it in a streamlined fashion. It's going to do it haphazardly, almost like a scrub on a croissant. As such, I realized, why don't I just exfoliate my lips with a chemical exfoliant that's at least going to evenly break apart the top layers of my lips, allowing them to slough off more evenly and to deliver a more smooth base. It was like buffing my lips in a much more even and gentler fashion, because honestly, scrubbing and breaking apart the top layer was not doing it for me. And so I applied a chemical exfoliant. I had Weleda on me because I have a couple of hacks of what to do with Weleda, which we can discuss for another video. And I decided to seal the deal with the Weleda, and it delivered a buttery, smooth result that lasted hours longer than any sort of lip mask, any sort of scrub could do, any sort of chapstick could do. And I was like, this is like basting a turkey on Thanksgiving morning. And so that is the backstory of how I came up with lip basting. And so it's a hack. It's not perfect, but let's get into it. My personal acid of choice is probably glycolic acid because it's one of the most hydrating acids out there. And you take a little dab and apply it all evenly on your lips. Once that dries off, which usually within 30 seconds or so, you take a nice little dollop of a thick, rich emollient and you seal it in order to restore hydration and to seal the deal. I will demonstrate this for you guys. So let's start with step one. We take a little bit of an exfoliating acid. This one is by L'Oreal. I like it because it has a nice slip, and you just apply it on your lips very lightly. Once that glycolic acid has dried down, we will take the Weleda and we will use a nice dollop of this. I will show you guys, probably around that much. Oh God. Amr, it's not nice.
Sorry.
We live in a small apartment. Okay, but you take a little dollop of Weleda, just like that, and you, okay? You put a thick coating of this guy. And you really want to look like a turkey that you've buttered completely. And you want that butter to sit on your lips and allow it to really melt in. And this is the basting process. Because over the next probably 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to notice that this is going to become translucent like it just was. And it's going to deliver a beautiful, glowy, dewy finish to your lips. I usually do this at the start of my makeup application because by the time I'm done applying my makeup, which usually consists of a light concealer, eyebrow pencil, eyeshadow, a thin eyeliner, and mascara, they will usually melt into my lips. So why is this hack not perfect? Because it's a hack. Okay, it's not designed for the lips. I have, since the beginning of this, I have gone down many different iterations of what we could possibly use. To this day, I think the L'Oreal 10% glycolic acid is my favorite one to use on the lips because of the slip and the texture of the acid serum. I have seen other ones, but I have never been as delighted by them, although I do recognize that the 10% is on the high side. So again, if you have cold sores, beware. It will make you more sun sensitive, so make sure you are using some sort of protection on your lips as well. Additionally, the Weleda, is it perfect? No, it is not. It is loaded in essential oils. So if, for example, you have a windburn, or if you are very sensitive or you have sensitive skin, it might further irritate your skin. So you have to be a little bit careful utilizing the Weleda because of all of the essential oils in it. Again, it is a hack, but I have some alternatives for you. And FYI, if you guys have alternatives for chemical exfoliants, please feel free to substitute, write them down below. I know that Sunday Riley, for example, has their lactic acid good genes. I have tried it. That one is not a bad one to use in lieu of the L'Oreal's glycolic acid, but please let me know below because I'm curious to see what you guys have all tried. So this leads me to, what are some of your favorite products for lip basting and why? Well, obviously we talked about the Weleda. I talked about the cons of it, but what are the pros? It is one of the silkiest, smoothest textures out there. And it truly, truly, truly does, as you can tell, melt into your lips. It is loaded in sunflower oil, and sunflower oil is a staple within the cosmetic industry that really does give that lustrous, beautiful, glowy finish. Plus, it has lanolin, which is a wool oil derivative to help lock in hydration. And last, I love the transformative nature of Weleda. I love that it goes on white and that it melts into a clear yumminess by the time you're done with it. The scent is a little off-putting. The taste can be a little bit strong. It's not one of my favorites. I must admit, it sometimes makes me a little nauseated, but the finish and the results are chef's kiss. Number 2, we have Bepanthen, which is a nappy rash cream. It's actually for your kids' tushy tush, and if it's good enough for your kids' tushy tush, it's good enough for your lips. Bepanthen is loaded in panthenol, so at least this one is not only a barrier cream, but it is also one that is going to nourish your lips and feed your lips. It also has that white kind of finish when you first apply it that melts over time into your lips, and it does have a silky finish. I like this one because it doesn't have the taste or the smell of Weleda, but does it give that buttery feel that Weleda does? Sadly, it falls a little bit short. It is, however, great if you do have a windburn and you are trying to heal your lips, which leads me to my third favorite one, Biafine. Biafine is my French cult favorite. I have this literally in every bag that I ever use. I actually don't use bags, but if I ever use a bag and I'm with my kids, this one is definitely in it. It's definitely in my kitchen because if I ever am cooking or if I'm making hot water or if I'm boiling something or frying something, you want to keep this around. It is great for burns, great for wind burns. And if I ever have a really bad windburn, I actually go for this guy first, then the Bepanthen, because this one really does help to heal your lips much faster than the Bepanthen can actually do. Just like that. I love the smell. It is so smooth. I'm gonna just, you know what? My lips are just gonna become It's so silky. Not wasting this. Not wasting this. I do use it on my neck and chest. I even do use it on my face sometimes. It is beautiful. And it smells lovely. It has a light scent, but I don't mind it at all. J'adore. And before last, we have Homéoplasmine, which is a homeopathic European French pharmacy, also called favorite. It is loaded in calendula, and calendula does have anti-inflammatory properties. So again, if you have some sort of irritant dermatitis, a windburn, or just an irritation from lip licking, I always say lip licking, then Homéoplasmine is probably a nice one. It has the same consistency as Vaseline or Aquaphor. And last, we have lanolin. So lanolin is an interesting one. Lanolin, like I said, is a wool oil derivative. When I gave birth to my babies at the hospital, they gave me lanolin nipple cream. If it's good enough for your nips, it's good enough for your lips. And so I applied this to my lips because I was like, oh, it's just pure lanolin. It's just a complete, it is really, really thick and buttery. People love lanolin on the lips. My lips now are basically like an ice skating rink. You can swoosh off of them. But lanolin is an interesting one. You guys can buy the ones for your nipples and just use it on your lips. Or if you are just grossed out by the idea of that, which honestly you shouldn't, there is Lana Lips, which is the exact same product, but marketed for lips. This one over here, and I'll show you guys. I am honestly a slip and slide at this point. I'll show you.
Are you putting it on your nips or your lips?
I'm putting it on my lips. I'm putting it not on my nips. But basically this one is pretty similar to the Lancino. Although I will tell you guys, the nipple cream is better than the one marketed for the lips. Just saying. Et voila. And so that is my top favorite products for basting. Are they perfect? No. Will you find your favorite? Most definitely from this selection. I hope you guys learned a thing or two on this lovely Saturday. I'm Dr. Shereene Idriss signing off, but let me know what you guys want to learn about next in the comment section below. And I hope you guys can see how nice and hydrated and buttery my lips are after applying 10,000 products. But truthfully, if you just use one of these after exfoliating chemically, this will last at least a few hours, if not at least throughout the night, and you'll wake up with a smooth, fresh pout. Have a great Saturday.